Right, okay. Last time I came here and read a few poems, I was accused of being a little morose, so I'm going to start with one about death now.
Fly home.
And but it's going to be on upwards trajectory today towards. It's going to start with death and finish with eating something that tastes quite nice. So the sky's the limit.
Maybe though.
Okay, this first one is called Nails, and as a teacher in my school, this is the poem that I've written that the kids seem to appreciate the most because it's a little bit gruesome. Nails. Every 3 weeks, after half a centimetre's growth on each of my hairy toes, I cut my nails down to size. In studied silence by lamplight, I leave the curled up clippings in a jaundiced pile. I lay them one on top of another, like ivory tusks from a poacher's haul of bodies in a mass grave turned to old bones. And rake up something once told about how when you die, your nails outlive you, soldier on. Or is it that the rest of what's left shrinks, all shrunken muscle and receding skin? I keep returning to the ritual. My mind sticks on all those long nails in all those coffin lids. And just continuing the Joy Fest, this is about getting old and lonely. It's called The Old Man's House. The heatings had it, but in the living room the gas fire burns the air dry as kindling, fills the place with thick stink of acrid piss that's been baked in. The match is on the box, but the commentary's off. He prefers the wireless which blares over our silence. The result is a delay between the things we see and what they say. Outside this little room, his daughter, my mother, sorts his life, puts what's good into neat piles, fills black bags with crap. For this, at least, she's come back. It takes all day to set things straight. All this time he does not speak, except to tell me how he takes his tea. And the kitchen is a mug he doesn't use. It bears the words, Big Daddy.
Wow.
Okay, this poem is was written when I lived. It's still lived in Liverpool. I've recently moved down about 6 months ago or so, and it was about journeying north after every weekend to go back to work and shit like that, which was never fun.
Did you come down on a pub?
I used to come down on the National Express coach, which was a special sort of torture. And inspires some thought anyway. So this poem's called North. It's actually got nothing to do with the National Express coach. North. This road north is getting harder to take. He spoke into the space between them, the driver staring blankly forward, not registering a word that was said. Up ahead, the thin beam of meek headlights bounced off rocks, rippling the uneven ground like the soundless sonar pips of a bat in the blinding black. Once, I said, I felt like a frontiersman. I came here proud, beating a new track, buying a future by my sweat, learning the lay, turning the hard earth to my hand. Outside, the juddering metal limits of the battered ancient truck, the world was perfectly still. The frozen night seemed to hold its breath. Now, he said, I steal in darkly by moonlight like a creeping thief. I come and go alone, with my scarf wrapped around my face, with my chest full of stones. At last, the driver came to that point in the road where the ground splintered and cracked. He pulled the vehicle to the verge, he cut the engine and sat back. He closed his eyes while the other quietly unpacked. Thank you. Okay, so the last two start to get a little bit more joyful, but the title of the first one's Necropolis, which actually means City of Dead. So, doesn't sound like a joyful title, but there is some hope in there if you listen for it. Necropolis. That night we walked to the necropolis, to sleep among the graves. We took a bivouac, cushion and thick sleeping bags. We filled our flasks with hot bovril, even though something that was something neither of us ever drank. It was a hopeless vigil, a way of marking the end of it. Your way, I thought, of being dramatic. Under the patchwork quilt of knitted blacks, the ceremonial stone slabs looked permanent as prison doors, final as full stops, immovable as bedrock. The bovril tasted rank, like death, you said, then laughed. You fell asleep with your head on my lap. But when we awoke, we saw the cracks. All around us, ruin, tombs smashed in, mausoleums beaten, sacked by nature, weather, time and man. And in the many gaps, all types of plants, like a greedy diner's dirty smile, green shoots in the teeth of death, I soberly remarked, at which, once more, you laughed. Okay, so this is the one that's about eating something nice, which is just a small pleasure in life, and sometimes it's worth being reminded of the small pleasures in life, isn't it? It's called eat something. My grandmother used to feed me. There was a woman who'd known hardship. 7 children survived, and every one a draw on her in some way. So she fed them all. And when the grandkids came too, she fed us too. It was all she knew how to do. Now, years later and now long dead, we are in the kitchen. You have your back to me. You're seeing to something, and it annoys me that I cannot see. Especially since I'm telling you this news. How, no matter which way we cut it, there's not enough to go round. We're stuck, and we're going to have to give it up. I'm saying this and it's like you're not listening, and I want to cry. You with your back to me spent. Then you turn and I see you're holding a plate. On the plate you've sliced up 2 whole tomatoes. Full, juicy red tomatoes, beef tomatoes the size of cricket balls. I picked them this afternoon, you tell me, while you were at the bank. Try one, you say, and we sit down and eat something. We taste the sweet tomato together, and it tastes good.
Thank you.